Hello, everyone.
Welcome to the English Echo.
We're very happy you're here today.
Today, we're going to practice English together in a simple and relaxing way.
I'm Sam.
And I'm Sophia.
We're happy you're here today.
Let's learn together. You know, today we need to talk about a very frustrating feeling.
Oh, yes. I know exactly what you mean.
Right. I know so many English learners who experience this exact problem. They are sitting in a meeting or hanging out with friends, and they are listening to English.
Yeah, they understand every single word.
Exactly. They laugh at the jokes. They feel smart, and, they feel very confident.
It's a wonderful feeling when that happens. I mean, you realize your listening skills are getting stronger.
Right.
You feel connected to the people around you. And you think, wow, I'm really doing this. I'm really understanding a new language.
But then, something terrible happens. The other person looks across the table and asks, so what do you think?
And suddenly, the confidence is completely gone.
Yes, completely gone. The learner's mind goes, well, completely blank. I mean, they know thousands of English words, but they can't find a single one to say.
It's like someone turned off the power in their brain.
Yeah.
The words are in there, but the mouth refuses to open. So we're going to figure out why this happens today. We're going to understand the psychology behind this brain freeze.
And more importantly, we'll talk about how to fix it.
Yes, exactly.
I really want to understand the why behind this. Like, why is there such a massive difference between listening and speaking?
Well, it's not about losing your skills. It's about how the brain processes information. When you are listening, your brain is doing a passive job.
A passive job.
Right. The other person is doing the hard work of building the sentence. Your brain just sits there and receives the information.
Oh, I see.
It's like someone handing you a completed puzzle. You just have to look at it.
That makes sense. Catching a ball is much easier than making a ball from nothing and throwing it. So when it's our turn to speak, the brain suddenly has to become active. It has to do a lot of heavy lifting in a very short amount of time.
Yes. When it's your turn to speak, it feels like an entire mental office suddenly opens in your head. You don't just have one job anymore. You have many jobs.
Wow, an entire office.
Yeah. Imagine there is a small doorway in your mind. The actual meaning you want to share, your main idea, is trying to walk through that door.
But it's never just the meaning, is it? As soon as the idea tries to leave the brain, the grammar department runs over.
They certainly do.
It starts shouting, wait, is this past tense or present perfect? And then the vocabulary department shows up.
Looking for a more impressive word, of course.
Oh, right.
Yes. And then the pronunciation department pushes into the crowd. It starts worrying about how your tongue is moving.
And finally, the fear department rings a loud alarm.
So true. Now you have grammar, vocabulary, pronunciation, fear, and your original idea. All of them are trying to squeeze through one tiny doorway at the exact same time.
Oh, wow. So there's a massive traffic jam in the brain. The brain gets completely overwhelmed by doing too many tasks at once.
Exactly. And when the human brain is overwhelmed, it just stops. It freezes to protect itself.
Nothing gets through the door, and we just stand there in silence.
That's exactly what happens. The cognitive load is just too high.
Right.
And while you are standing there silently, you are usually trying to fix the traffic jam. You try to create the absolute perfect sentence in your head.
Because you think if the sentence is perfect, everything will be fine.
Yes.
I am definitely guilty of this. I will build a sentence in my mind, but before I open my mouth, I change the beginning.
We all do that.
Then I think the verb is wrong, so I change the verb. Then I worry that my accent will sound strange on the last word. I mean, I edit the sentence 5 times before I even speak.
And we all know how that story ends. By the time you finally build this flawless, beautiful sentence in your head, the moment is gone.
Oh, it's so true.
The conversation has naturally moved on to a completely different topic. You missed your chance because you were acting like an editor instead of a speaker.
It's incredibly frustrating. But why do we put this heavy pressure on ourselves? I mean, we don't do this in our native language.
No, we don't.
In our native language, we just open our mouths and start talking. We don't edit every word. So why do we suddenly become strict editors when we speak English?
Well, I think it comes down to our identity. In our native language, we already have an established personality.
Right.
We know we are smart or funny or professional. We want people to see that exact same personality when we speak English.
Ah, I see.
So we are terrified that if we use simple words, people will think we are simple-minded.
That makes a lot of sense.
Yeah.
We want to prove our intelligence. We feel this intense pressure to show the world that we are educated and interesting.
Yes, exactly.
But trying to prove our intelligence actually causes us to stay silent. And, well, being silent definitely doesn't show our personality.
It hides your personality completely. A simple, messy version of yourself is always better than a completely silent version.
I love that. A simple, messy version.
Yeah. Your primary goal is not to sound like a poetry professor. Your primary goal is to share meaning. You want to connect with another human being. Meaning always comes first.
Right. We can always polish the grammar later. Getting the idea out of the door is step one.
Exactly.
But this desire to sound incredibly smart, it leads to a huge fear of making mistakes. I've noticed that language learners are usually their own worst critics. They're so hard on themselves.
They really are. And this fear of mistakes causes people to torture themselves after a conversation is over.
Oh, yeah.
They will have a lovely chat with a colleague, but they won't remember the connection. They will only remember the one small grammar error they made.
I know people who will ruin their whole evening over a tiny mistake. They will go home, make dinner, and for 3 hours, they just think about one word.
So sad.
They think, why did I say in the weekend? I should have said on the weekend or at the weekend. I mean, they stress for hours over a simple preposition.
It breaks my heart when learners do this. I always try to remind people, native speakers are not studying your English.
Right.
They are not walking around with a red pen giving you a grade on your grammar. They honestly don't care about the prepositions.
We think everyone is judging us, but they are just listening to our story. Like if you say in the weekend, they still understand exactly what time you're talking about.
Exactly. The message is successfully delivered.
Yeah. They probably forget the mistake 2 seconds after you make it.
Yes. And the funny thing is, fluent speakers make mistakes constantly.
Wait, really?
Oh, definitely. If you actually listen to a real conversation between native speakers, it is very messy.
Messy how?
Well, people stop in the middle of sentences. They forget common words. They change direction. And spontaneous human speech is naturally imperfect.
That's a really helpful reminder. Real life is not a textbook dialogue, but even if we know this logically, the physical act of speaking still feels scary.
It does.
It actually reminds me of learning a song. Have you ever known a song perfectly in your head, but you couldn't sing it?
Oh, all the time. I can hear the music and the singer perfectly in my mind. I know all the lyrics.
Yeah.
But if you give me a microphone, well, it sounds completely different.
Exactly, because knowing the lyrics is mental, but singing is physical. Speaking a language is physical.
That's a great comparison.
You have to train your mouth muscles, your tongue, and your breathing to work together. You can't just read English silently and expect your mouth to know what to do.
That is such a vital point, Sam. The physical muscles need exercise.
Yeah.
If you only ever read and listen, your brain knows the language. But your mouth is completely out of practice. That physical hesitation adds to the brain freeze. You need to build muscle memory.
So if someone is struggling with this physical hesitation, how can they practice? We can't always find a native speaker to chat with every single day.
That's true.
And practicing with real people can be stressful when you are already nervous.
Well, the easiest and safest way to build this physical muscle memory is by using voice notes.
Voice notes.
Yes. Almost everyone has a smartphone. You just take your phone, open a recording app, and talk for exactly 1 minute. It doesn't matter what the topic is.
I usually tell people to talk about their breakfast or their plans for the day, but, when learners try this, they often hate it.
Oh, meow.
They listen to the recording and they say, oh no, my voice sounds terrible, my accent is bad, I made 10 mistakes.
It's true. Nobody likes hearing their own recorded voice at first. But here is the trunk to using voice notes effectively.
Okay, what is it?
When you listen back, you are not allowed to criticize everything. You cannot try to fix 20 different mistakes. That will just overwhelm your mental office again.
So we should just ignore the mistakes.
Not ignore them, but isolate them. You listen to the 1 minute recording and pick just one small thing to improve.
Just one.
Right. Maybe you notice you forgot the S on a plural word. Okay, that's your only goal for tomorrow. You focus on fixing that one small thing. Small, daily physical practice changes everything.
That feels much more manageable. Fixing one thing is a tiny step. But let's talk about real life again.
Right.
Let's say a learner has been practicing their voice notes. They feel a bit better. Then they go to a party, someone asks them a question, and the freeze happens anyway. What do they do in that exact moment?
Well, we have to accept that freezing will still happen. We are human.
Right.
The goal isn't perfect confidence all the time. The goal is knowing how to survive the freeze when it happens.
Yeah.
You need a few practical, natural phrases to keep you in the conversation.
I like that idea, survival phrases, because usually when someone freezes, their internal thought is just panic.
Yes, completely.
They think, I can't speak, I'm stuck. So what can they actually say out loud instead of just staring in silence?
Instead of saying nothing or awkwardly saying, I don't know English, you can use a great phrase. You can say, I struggle to get the words out.
I struggle to get the words out.
Yes. It's honest, it's natural, and it explains the situation perfectly.
I think that phrase is very powerful. It tells the other person that you do have an idea, like the idea in your brain, but the physical delivery is just taking a little extra effort.
Exactly. It asks for patience without sounding foolish.
That's great.
Another common problem is needing more time to process the question. Your brain is translating, and you just need a few seconds.
Yes, that happens a lot.
So instead of panicking in the silence, you can say, give me a second to put that into words.
Give me a second to put that into words. That's a very natural expression.
It really is.
I mean, native speakers use it all the time when discussing difficult topics. To put into words just means to express a feeling or idea through language.
Exactly. It shows that you are actively thinking, not just ignoring the person.
Right.
And sometimes the problem isn't finding the words at all. Sometimes the conversation is just moving incredibly fast. You have 3 people talking over each other, and you are just waiting on the outside.
Group conversations are the hardest. The topic changes before you can even build your first sentence.
They can be very stressful.
What can a learner say when they feel left behind in a fast group chat?
You can lean in and say, I never know how to jump into the conversation. Or simply, it's hard to jump in when you guys speak so fast.
Jump in. That means to enter a conversation that is already happening.
Yes.
But I have to ask, if we use these phrases, if we ask for a second to think or admit we are struggling, won't the other person get annoyed?
That's a huge worry for people.
Right. Won't they think we are wasting their time?
This is the biggest fear learners have. They think a 3-second pause is a social disaster.
Yeah.
But you have to remember that time feels very different when you are nervous. When your heart is beating fast, 3 seconds feels like 3 minutes.
Wow. Yes.
But to the other person, it's just a normal breath.
That's very true. Nervous time is slow time.
Exactly.
The other person isn't checking their watch. They're probably just taking a sip of their coffee and waiting. People are generally very kind and happy to wait a moment if you ask nicely.
They are. By honestly admitting you need a moment, you actually take control of the situation. You stop the panic.
Right.
And when the panic stops, the brain can finally start finding the vocabulary words again.
Speaking of vocabulary, I think it would be really helpful to look at some specific words today.
I agree.
There are words in English that perfectly describe the emotional journey we are talking about. Understanding these words can help learners express their feelings better.
Having the vocabulary to describe your frustration actually makes it less scary. Let's start with a feeling we talked about earlier.
Okay.
When you change your sentence 5 times in your head, the word for that is second guess.
Second guess. This is when you make a decision or think of a sentence and then immediately doubt it.
Yes.
You wonder if your first idea was wrong, even though it was probably right.
Exactly. You doubt your own instinct. A learner might tell their teacher, I always second guess myself when I speak to my boss.
Oh, that's a good example.
It means they have the English in their head, but they doubt it so much that they confuse themselves before speaking.
It's a terrible habit, but very common. You second guess the grammar, so you stay quiet.
Right.
There's another word that describes the physical feeling of staying quiet because you are nervous. It's when you feel like everyone in the room is staring at you and judging you.
Ah, that word is self-conscious. When you are self-conscious, you feel uncomfortable because you are overly aware of yourself.
Yes, exactly.
You worry about how you look, how you sound, and what everyone thinks of you.
I remember feeling incredibly self-conscious when I was learning a new language. I would walk into a bakery to order bread, and, I felt like there was a bright spotlight on me.
I totally get that.
I worried my accent sounded silly. I worried my face looked stressed. I was totally focused on myself.
That spotlight effect is exactly what being self-conscious means.
Right.
You think everyone is studying your mistakes, but the baker just wants to sell you some bread. They aren't judging your accent. Overcoming that self-conscious feeling is a big step.
It really is. Now, let's talk about a word that learners often misunderstand. The word is articulate.
Oh, articulate. That's a great one.
Many people want to be articulate, but they think it means something very complicated.
Yes, articulate is an important word. If someone is articulate, it means they express their thoughts very clearly.
Clearly.
Right. People listen to them and they instantly understand the message. It is a wonderful skill to have.
But here, is where the confusion happens. I talk to learners who say, I want to be articulate, so I need to learn thousands of advanced academic words.
Well, no.
They think using big, complicated words makes them articulate.
And that is a trap. Being articulate has nothing to do with fancy vocabulary. Some of the most articulate people in the world use very simple, everyday words.
Wow, really?
Yes. They are articulate because their message is perfectly clear. If you use big words but nobody understands your point, you are not articulate. You are just confusing.
That is a great rule to remember. Clear is always better than complicated. Simple words used well are much better than fancy words used poorly.
Exactly.
If your meaning is clear, you are articulate.
Right. Moving on, we have two words that describe the ultimate goal of English conversation. These two words are spontaneous and instinctive.
Spontaneous and instinctive.
Yes. When a conversation is going well, it feels spontaneous.
Spontaneous means happening naturally without being planned or rehearsed. It's the opposite of reading a script.
Right. Many learners try to prepare for a conversation by planning every single question and answer.
Oh, yeah. Like running a mental computer program.
Yes. They think, if she asks about my weekend, I will say exactly this sentence. If she asks about my dog, I will use this vocabulary word.
They try to predict the future. But real life isn't a script. You can't plan a conversation like a presentation.
No, you can't.
When you are instinctive, you trust your brain to react in the moment. You hear the question, and you naturally reply without translating everything first.
Instinctive reactions take time to develop. It's that muscle memory we talked about. You don't translate. Your instinct just gives you the English word.
Right.
It's a beautiful moment when you realize you just had a spontaneous conversation without planning it.
It's the best feeling. But of course, even when we are instinctive, things will still go wrong sometimes.
Yes, they will.
We will still drop a word or freeze for a second. And that brings us to our final and maybe most important vocabulary word today.
The final word is composure.
Composure.
Composure means keeping calm and staying in control of your emotions, especially when something difficult happens. It's the ability to not panic.
So let's say you are in a meeting. Your boss suddenly asks you a difficult question in English. Your mind goes blank.
Okay.
If you lose your composure, you start sweating, you apologize, and you feel terrible.
But if you keep your composure, you take a slow breath. You don't panic. You calmly use one of our survival phrases.
Like, give me a second to put that into words.
Yes. You accept the small pause and you find a way forward.
Keeping your composure doesn't mean you speak perfectly. It just means you handle the messy moments with a calm attitude. You don't let a small mistake turn into a disaster.
These words, second guess, self-conscious, articulate, spontaneous, instinctive, and composure. They really map out the journey of learning to speak.
They really do.
You start out feeling self-conscious and second-guessing everything. But slowly you build composure and you become more spontaneous.
That journey is so important to understand. And looking at all these ideas today, it makes me realize that a lot of learners have a fundamental misunderstanding about confidence. They have the order of events completely backwards.
What do you mean by the order of events? How do they get it backwards?
Well, many learners treat confidence like a magic ticket. They think they need the ticket before they can enter the conversation. They sit quietly and think, I will start speaking when I finally feel confident. I just need to study more until the confidence arrives.
That is a very common mindset.
Yeah.
They're waiting for fear to disappear before they open their mouths.
But fear doesn't disappear while you are hiding. Confidence does not come first. Action comes first.
Right.
You have to speak while you are still scared. You speak, and it's a little messy. You stumble on a word. You have to pause.
But then you realize you survived. The other person didn't laugh.
Yeah.
The conversation continued. You shared your meaning.
Exactly. You survive the messy moment. And because you survived, your brain learns that it is safe to speak. Then the confidence comes.
I love that.
Confidence is the reward you get after you do the scary thing.
That is a really powerful way to look at it. You build confidence by proving to yourself that you can handle the messy, imperfect moments. You don't need perfect grammar to survive. You just need to stay in the conversation.
The finish line isn't perfection. The finish line is connection to stay in the chat. And that brings us to our final thought for today. A small piece of advice for everyone listening who wants to have better, more relaxed conversations this week.
What is the final advice we can leave them with?
Stop trying to rehearse both sides of the conversation in your head.
Oh, definitely.
When you walk up to someone, you cannot predict what they will say. Humans are entirely unpredictable. They will always surprise you with a strange question or a new topic.
It's so true. You spend 10 minutes preparing the perfect answer, and then they ask you something completely different, and all your planning is ruined.
Yes, it's wasted energy. So let go of the script. Just focus on your very first sentence.
Right.
Even if your first sentence is simple, like, how is your day going? Just say it out loud. Then really listen to their answer.
Yes, listen.
Let their words guide you. Let the conversation help you find your second sentence.
Step by step, sentence by sentence. Don't fight the messy reality of speaking. Welcome it and just keep practicing.
Thank you for listening to the English Echo.
Keep practicing English every day.
Small steps can make a big difference.
See you in the next episode.